All right. I'm going to talk a little bit today about Geoffrey Grider of Now the End Begins. Um, Geoffrey is a guy I've followed for about 3 or 4 years now. Obviously, I follow his blog. He doesn't really do a whole lot on YouTube. And today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm not going to critique his doctrine so much or talk about what I disagree with in terms of his doctrine, although I do disagree with his doctrine. I'm going to call into question some practices that he is doing these days. And I am not the only one by far who is questioning these practices. I see a lot of people kind of a little bit freaked out about this guy. This is not an accusation, by the way. Geoffrey Grider is very arrogant. That's my opinion. I have tangled with him over the years. He is right all the time. Geoffrey Grider is never ever wrong about anything. He's got a background in Hollywood. He got saved, and he's still got that Hollywood cockiness, which I guess is kind of attractive in some ways to people. But this guy really is just full of himself, and it's obvious when you read his headlines. So, for example, this is a recent headline where he states, so he was right about President Trump being the nominee 3 years ago. He was right about President Trump getting elected 2 years ago. He was one of the very few people who said that and predicted that. And, hats off to him. He got, Jeffrey got a big boost of web traffic from that, all that controversy. And he turned out to be right. And he will never let you forget that. So he posted this blog a week or so ago. And I mean, just the arrogance dripping off this blog title. Christians need to be reminded. I'm Jeff Grider. I stated 3 years ago that God is putting Trump into office to fulfill his role of judging the world. And I think some Christians have forgotten why God put him in office. I mean, it's like the arrogance that you claim to know why God does a thing. Hey, Jeffrey, your business is why God does things in your personal life. Okay. And that's hard enough. I mean, I frankly don't know why God does certain things in my life. I'm mystified why he has blessed me so abundantly and I deserve none of it, for example. So I have no idea why. But I know what God is doing in my life and I can thank him and appreciate him for that. That's all you have the right to talk about. You have no right to get up on your little blog here and act like I need to really remind all the Christians out there why God put Trump in office. It's just, it, I guarantee you, he doesn't even see it. That's how arrogant and blind this guy is. All right, so that is a backdrop. Every blog post he writes nowadays, he puts this at the bottom. All right, he's trying to raise money. So let me get down there. So first of all, here's more arrogance. I mean, utter nonsense. Now the end begins is your frontline defense against the rising tide of darkness in the last days before the rapture. Jeffrey, no. No, 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 no. The Holy Spirit is my frontline defense. The Word of God is my frontline defense. You are not my frontline defense, okay? Just get over yourself, for goodness sake. By the way, Jeffrey, I'm a web guy. I know how to look up stuff on the web. I've been doing it for 25 years, longer than you have. Okay. I probably got more customers than you have. I've probably done far more projects than you have, Jeffrey. So, I can be a little cocky too, right? I know how to go and track your web traffic at a general level. And I know your web traffic has plummeted, plummeted. And every single month, you're losing more and more and more search traffic. So maybe Jeffrey's desperate to get people to come back to his website because he lost all of his traffic because nobody cares anymore. I don't know. But your frontline defense in the rising tide of darkness is Jeffrey's blog. All right, so let me take a time out here real fast and say this. Geoffrey Grider has a street ministry in St. Augustine, Florida, that apparently is doing many, many good things for the Lord. He is bringing people to the Lord on the streets. I used to pray for that ministry on a regular basis. I don't anymore. I don't pray for Jeffrey anymore. I just frankly don't. I'm so disgusted with the guy. I just can't do it. But I still support the fact that he is trying to help. He's trying to reach people, and some of the money that he's been raising is going towards tracts and other things. So he says right here, the money you send in goes primarily to the building of the recording studio, but also goes to the overall daily operations. When people ask for Bibles, we'll send them tracts, we'll send them Bibles. Great. I mean, that's wonderful. So here's my point. Arrogant statement. No, you're not our frontline defense, Geoffrey. Number two, he is asking for money every day, sometimes more than once a day, to fund this ministry, so-called. Now, let's take a look at the history of what Geoffrey Grider has done here. So this all started back in the spring of 2017. 2017, Geoffrey Grider petitions his readership for money to build a new radio studio to launch and return the NTEB Rightly Dividing Sunday Night Bible Study radio program, and asks for, at the time, it was $25,000 on GoFundMe. All right. So let's go over and look at some things. Here's one of his original posts. Okay. Where he says, I'm building my studio. This is my summer fundraising. This is, you can see August of 2017. We've raised some of the $25,000 total. So he's all about raising money for his broadcast to get it back on the air. He wants to build a studio, make videos, get back on the air on Sunday nights. He used to run a Sunday night Bible study program on Blog Talk Radio. He wants to get that back up and running. Okay, fine. You know what? You can go on GoFundMe and ask for money for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't make you a bad person at all, okay? And giving money to people for whatever reason doesn't make you a bad person either. So in May of 2017, he posted an article updating his readers that $4,000 had been raised, but there was still a ways to go. And I'm trying to find that. I had to shrink my window so that I could, fit it on the screen. Okay, well, I'm just not finding it. So, he kept people up to date. He says, now we're at 4,000 in August. He says we're nearly at the end of phase one. We've raised $7,500 of the $25,000 total. Okay, fine. Here we are. We're partway through it. He hasn't done anything yet with the money other than buy some equipment. He hasn't launched the radio program. Frankly, he says the money's going to better sound equipment. So then he does this odd thing. So in August of 2017, he posts that the Now the End Begins, that's the ministry recording studio, was featured in a TV interview. So let's look at that. Here's the headline. Now the End Begins recording studio featured in TV interview, and we still need your help in reaching our fundraising goals. So he's talking about the ministry. So Jeff Grider also runs a web company called Mudflower Media, and he's very upfront about that. Here it is. She's looking to do a story on the marina where my website design business, Mudflower Media, is located. She wasn't looking for me, but after speaking for a few minutes, she became quite intrigued with what we have going on here at the studio. All right, so let's watch this video, and you tell me, after watching this 1-minute video, if this is a story about Now the End Begins and the ministry Geoffrey is trying to raise money for.
Jessica Clark reports that the city of St. Augustine is considering a way to keep working waterfronts thriving and out of the hands of those who want to build condos on them.
This is going to be our green screen recording room.
Geoffrey Grider is the CEO of mudflowermedia.com. He creates websites and...
We're going to do live music tracks. We're going to do podcasting.
It's not the kind of business you'd expect to find at a marina, but it's at one.
And look at what I'm looking at. I'm looking at boats. I'm smelling the water, right?
His office and studio are at the San Sebastian Marina, just a few parking spaces away from sailboats and from the popular Crave food truck.
And then you have a whole bunch of businesses right here going down to the water. And it's a very vibrant community.
His is the kind of business that some commercial waterfront property owners in St. Augustine would like to have on site.
All right. Okay. So I want you to note a couple of things here. She didn't mention Now the End Begins at all. At all. Now, was she supposed to in the interview? Maybe he told her about Now the End Begins in his ministry in the interview. We don't know. All we know is she did not mention it at all. She did not mention the recording studio and the radio program that Geoffrey's trying to raise money for at all. She said he's a business, Mudflower Media, that makes websites, and he's got a studio. And look how great it is that people are, out there building businesses along this marina. That's the whole point of the story. What's Geoffrey doing here? He's trying to tell us that, hey, we're raising money for this studio, and we just got featured on the radio on TV for Now the End Begins studio. I also want you to notice that on one of the promotions for this studio he's building, he has, and he said this down in the comments. So full disclosure, he did tell everybody in the comments that this was photoshopped. This is photoshopped. There's no sign above the door that says Now the End Begins. There's the sign.
Office and studio are at the San Sebastian Marina, just a few parking spaces away.
No, Now the End Begins sign anywhere to be seen. This is the same time period that this picture was taken, 2017. He doesn't have a sign out there. He even said he doesn't have a sign out there. Geoffrey, what are you trying to pull? What are you trying to pull on here, on us? Doesn't that seem kind of strange? So it gets stranger. So first, he is misleading you with with his headlines. He is misleading you with this headline right here, and he's doing it on purpose. He knows good and well that the interview didn't say a word about Now the End Begins, nor about the recording studio. The recording studio featured in the TV interview, his location on the marina is featured. They mention the recording studio. That's it. So he is trying to drum up hype and support. By the way, Geoffrey lives on hype. That's his entire industry. His entire ministry is hype. So he's used to doing this. He's hyping, wow, our recording studio is getting all kinds of attention. You need to get on board and give money so we can finish reaching our goal. That's how I read this. And that would be fine if it wasn't a complete and total fabrication. Are you willing to jump on board with a guy that's willing to do this just to get some money from you? And Photoshop images and put them on his screen and not tell anybody that those are Photoshopped? See, again, he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to. It's his business. But you know what? He's asking people for money. And he's being a little creative with how he gets you there. So it gets worse, though. Back to my PowerPoint. In March 2018, Geoffrey begins running his Sunday evening radio programs again on Blog Talk Radio. So I say that loosely because he only produced one program in March. He did 0 in April. He did 2 in May. He did 5 in June, 3 in July, and 2 in August. Usually it's every Sunday. Then he stopped. He just completely quit doing them. So I'll show you. Here's the last program he did 7 months ago, and that's in August. And he stopped doing them entirely until a couple of Sundays ago when he created a new one. And he proclaimed that the new season of our Sunday night program has now begun. We're in a new season now. So you know what, Jeff, you can make up whatever season you want. Your season starts in March every year. That's fine. That's cool. That's fine. But you've done one program so far this season. We'll see if he keeps going. Why did you not do any programming the entire rest of 2018 after August? Why didn't you do any early in 2018? 2018. He was raising money in 2017. And you might say, well, it's because he didn't raise the $25,000 he wanted. Oh, really? Geoffrey Grider has so far raised $56,945. And all of a sudden, the goal is $75,000. Wait a minute. Do you want to give money to a man who triples the goal? More than doubles the income he asked for to start with. So he's got more than twice what he asked for now. And yet has not yet started the program, really started that program until a couple weeks ago. And he's done one show so far. You guys should be calling this guy up on the phone during his show and saying, hey, Jeff, I'm glad you're back on the air finally. What took you so long You have double the money you asked for right now in the bank. So that's a little odd. What is going on there? So I don't have enough evidence to say anything other than this looks strange. I would question the man, what he's doing. Why is he doing it with your money? He does come out with this article. Let's see what I have here. Yep, he says the money you send in July, he's updated everyone. This is midway through his season that he ran of the Sunday night program. The money you send in goes primarily to the building of the recording studio, but also it goes to the overall daily operations of this site. I just need to remind you guys once again here. So here's where he says that. You know, we're doing all kinds of work here, you guys. We're sending out tracts. We're building the studio. You know, we're doing the Sunday night program, I guess, a little bit. You're not just helping us with that, though. You're helping with those daily operations of the site. Here's my final point. Geoffrey Grider is mixing his daily business operations. It's in the same building as a for-profit company. So he's mixing his daily business operations, what you could call his tent-making operation, which is, by the way, a tent-making operation, that's great. Instead of asking money to live my lifestyle that I want, I'm going to go out and earn my money so I can live. And I'll ask you for money if I need something like ministry related. But where is the line? He is funding all of his operations for this website through you and some of his own work over here with the advertising. He is he is tripling the amount of money he's asking for and receiving double the money he originally asked for, and he still hasn't shown us this recording studio that he's supposedly building. Instead, he's like a little murky with, well, you know, it also funds operations. What are daily operations of this site, Jeff? Do daily operations of this site include, like, I don't know, your salary for writing all the content? Does it? If it does, Jeff, that's fine. Just tell people. Stop telling people you're on the front lines and the frontline defense against the rising tide of darkness, and then kind of sit in that darkness a little bit yourself. I'm stopping short of saying Geoffrey is doing anything wrong or fraudulent. Not saying that. I'm saying it's kind of strange, and it would be nice if he addressed the issue on his blog. All right. Take care, everybody.